Hi, I'm Robert Hranitzky and I work as a creative director in Munich, Germany. My work is usually for motion graphics, so I do most of my things in 2D animation, 3D animation, but I also do some traditional graphics work like logo design, a little bit of print work here and there, but mostly I do work for everything that's moving, motion graphics, films and so on. My interest in becoming a creative person started early on as a kid. I was doodling, scribbling around a lot, as most kids do, I guess. But then it stuck with me, and especially after seeing movies like Star Wars, for example, that had worlds that are not existing, really triggered this desire to create something that is virtually not there. So I started graphic design in university and just built my creative tools and skills from there, and that's how I ended up being a freelance designer. For a designer to stand out, I think he needs to have two attributes. One would be a great communicator. And to be a great communicator would also mean to be a good listener, because it's always about communication. If you design something, it's meant to communicate something, a message, a story, whatever it is. But in order to understand that, you need to be a good listener as well. So you need to understand what the briefing asks you to do, or what the product or whatever you create and design needs to communicate. Whether it's a message for a product, maybe, or it's a film, a story, or whatever. Everything is communication, so you need to be a good communicator. My proudest achievement as a designer would be probably two things. The first would be my graduation short film, where I learned, for that movie, I learned to use 3D software, Cinema 4D to be particular. And the first time I saw the characters that I designed, to see them in front of you on the screen, to move and to actually live, it was almost like a Frankenstein moment. So actually that you created is there, and it's moving and it's living, kind of. And then how well it was received, filling a little movie theater, that was really a proud moment. And another proud moment was just recently, where I finished the opening title sequence for the Tokame conference, and see all the reactions, and especially knowing how much work it was, and also having an open brief, not knowing how will it be received, but then to see the reactions was really fulfilling. Where do I get inspiration from? Mostly, to be honest, in the shower, I would say. That's true for maybe 7 out of 10 ideas, maybe, to be honest. I don't know why, it's just like that. Very rarely in front of the computer. Sometimes when I'm out and about doing sports, or actually not thinking about it, so it's kind of working its way in my mind, and all of a sudden it's there. What do I do for inspiration? Well, I look at a lot of work. I'm a lot, like, for example, sites like Motionographer, for example, Vimeo, YouTube, and so on. I go to museums and stuff. So whenever I see something that really is good work, I tend to get almost depressed, and from depression I take inspiration. You know what I mean? Kind of like this. Okay, this work is so good, I'm never gonna be there, and then you kind of get down, and all of a sudden you just pick yourself up and say, okay, I want to create something that's maybe a little bit as good as this. So this keeps you going. My goal to communicate something so that people understand what the benefits of this product is, for example. So then this, of course, is something that will speak to you. The tools that I use mostly is for 3D work. It's Cinema 4D from Maxon. Everything that moves usually is done in Adobe After Effects. The usual suspects like Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, is of course also there. So that's, I would say, for the software part. For the hardware part, I'm a Mac guy, so I still am. Work on the Mac Pro, have a BenQ 4K screen. That's important for me, especially since I'm also tapping into working with VR stuff as well. So having a native 4K resolution is important. Photography-wise, I use my Canon 5D Mark III, I think it is. Canon 5D Mark III. That's what I use for photos. And for film, it really depends. If we need to film something, then mostly we rent cameras, either from Ari or Blackmagic. Tips for choosing a monitor would be really depending on, first of all, on what you do. So every monitor suits a need. So if you're doing just Word or Excel work, then color accuracy and resolution is probably not the go-to desire. But obviously, if you work in the creative field, then resolution comes into place. I used to have 2 screens early on, but I ditched that because I find that most applications are kind of designed better to work with a single screen. And then obviously you need a lot of resolution to accommodate all the work. So to see the work, for example, if you have a full HD work, then you still need to have the palettes and the panels left and right. So having a 4K resolution is really helpful. Speaking of colors, obviously, if you want to do something that is red, but actually you're seeing something that is not really red, but more kind of a mix in between a few colors, then that's obviously not a good way to go. So color accuracy is very important as well.